Hello everybody and welcome back to the second shelf. Before we get into today's video, apologies for not uploading last week. If you're following my channel religiously, which you all do of course, then you will have noticed that it's been a minute and there was no video last week, Sunday, and neither on Wednesday. I was traveling and I had to work 10-12 hours a day, so I just didn't have the time. Sorry about that. But anyway, today is the first video in my Noblewomen series in which we read all the Nobel Prize winning women except for the 3 poetry winners. Links down below, the whole list, the reading schedule, and I'll post a video on the last Sunday of each month to discuss the book that we read this month. And there's also a Goodreads group, links also down below. Enough preliminaries. Our first read was the first female Nobel Prize for Literature winner ever, and that was Selma Lagerlöf and her book, so you can see it, the Saga of Gösta Berling. Selma Lagerlöf is a Swedish author, so this is I chose this translation from Paul Norland into English. She was born in 1858 and she died in 1940. She's famous also for her children's books. I talked about that in the introduction. And this is actually her debut novel, which I find amazing that somebody can write this as a first novel. Anyway, the Saga of Gösta Berling was first published in 1891, so it's a late 19th century novel, and that will play a role when I discuss the style of the book. Very short for the story. We follow our title character, Gösta Berling, a young man. He was a minister, but he drank too much, and so he got defrocked, as it's put in English. So he got kicked out. He wanders around the Swedish landscape in winter as a beggar, and then he is saved by a rich woman, the mistress of Ekeby, who takes him in. And the rest of the book is Gösta Berling's adventures while living on the estate of his new benefactor, if you want to call it that. He's not the only one. There are in total 12 so-called cavaliers, or gentlemen who live with the mistress of Ekeby, the majoress, because she's the wife of a major. And the book then depicts the adventures of these 12 men. They take over the estate. They have all kinds of weird or adventurous tales to tell. And in the end, we will see what happens to Gösta Berling. In the end, he's redeemed, of course. Now, there are a couple of important themes, but first, for those of you who haven't read it and might consider still reading it or joining our Noblewomen group, this is not your typical straightforward novel. It tells a story, so in that sense it is a novel, but the title already suggests Saga is more of a fairy tale. You can already deduct that from the 12 Cavaliers. It's a reference to Arthur's Round Table, the adventures of knights, so to speak. And I started the introduction with that Selma Lagerlöf was a late 19th century author, and the prevailing style at that time was realism. And this book is definitely a counter to that, because it's much more magical, fairy tale-like. The stories follow a timeline, but they are stories in themselves. So that you have it with each chapter, you have another adventurous story, and each one is sort of a tale in itself. So it's like a northern mythical saga almost, and one of the important themes in there is the pact with the devil, Sintram, who is the evil one, who is only looking for mischief. And it's not quite made clear in the book whether he is the devil incarnate or whether he is himself, has a pact with the devil. That's not made clear, but Sintram symbolizes the evil, the mischief, not always morally evil, in the sense of, you know, murder or something, but also mischief. So the theme of these 12 men who are seduced by this evil Sintram, but who are also, you know, poetic. Gösta Berling is the leader of these 12 cavaliers. He's a poet also, and he leads them into the adventures, but there's always this underlying theme of good and evil, and that's why we have this redemption in the end. I think that a lot of people who read this for the first time, for me it was a reread. It was an unexpected read, I think, because, like I said, it's more a medieval fairy tale atmosphere that is in that you get than your straightforward 19th century realistic novel. I really enjoyed it, I have to say. I really liked the writing. There were some questions in the Goodreads group about the translation. I can't really talk sensibly about that because I can't read the Swedish. But if you have comments on the translation, please let me know down in the comments. But I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was a very, strange atmosphere. The winter, the landscape plays an important role, and you get sucked in this saga of these 12 men and the poor mayoress who is sort of whose estate is taken over by these mischievous cavaliers. I really enjoyed it. I thought it's something different, certainly, like I said, from a 19th century author, but I'm really curious to know what you've thought of it, whether you read it at all, whether you participate. So let me know what your take is on our first NobelWomen-read, the Saga of Gösta Berling. And I want to end this video by introducing our December read, and that is the next women who won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Quite some time later, 1909, Selma Lagerlöf, and then 1926, an Italian or Sardinian author, Grazia Deledda. And I chose Reeds in the Wind. I chose this translation by Martha King. And it's, I have never read this author before, so it's a first one for me as well. It's a novel of crime. We follow a family, sisters, and there's a secret, and the landscape also plays a role. So I'm very much looking forward to this book in December. And as I said down in the schedule, I will post a video discussing the book on the last Sunday of December. Okay, so this was it for Nobel Women #1, Selma Lagerlöf. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you join with our Nobel Women reads, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.